welcome back to Praggers Gaming. I'm Gamer Praggers, and this is Citizen Sleeper. Now, we're taking a little break, only a little one, from, well no, we're not even taking a break from the other series on the channel. This is a game that I played a couple years back, and I really liked it, and there was an ongoing story that I missed the update which continued the story. But I've also seen recently that Citizen Sleeper 2 is coming to Game Pass early this year, so I thought we would go back and do a playthrough of the first one and cover it on the channel, because chances are I am going to cover the second one on the channel. It's, how to describe it, it's a turn-based RPG, but its unique mechanic is it uses dice rolls, so there's an element of chance. You could almost say it's a roguelite, but there's no meta currency, so you just play through the story, and then you can pick different classes to play through, and you get different and you get different abilities that you can use, or different buffs. So let's jump in. Let's jump in. There we go. We'll do a new game. So there you go. I did 125 cycles, which it basically turns. So we'll select new. So so effectively, you are the shell of that a consciousness is placed into, and you. Well, it'll explain the story. So you've got different classes that help, that give you a plus and a negative, that will help in various different things. So if we see here, we've got the machinist and the extractor. We don't have an operator. So, I think we're going to go with an operator. An operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. So we can transfer intercept. We have a chance to gain cryo on interface actions. I can't remember what that means, but it has been a long time. In fact, it doesn't say when we last played it. So yes, so we have nothing on engineering, but we do have a +1 to interface checks. We have a -1 on endure, and everything else is a 0. So let's start. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Forget that body. You resist nostalgia. It is pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. This is your moment of escape, even if it feels immediately like you traded one present for another, smaller, colder, lifeless. Reach out. You almost laugh, or you would if there was room, or even air to do so. The walls of the container are immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like it used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you get the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourself into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reach any destination. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You've been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigour. Sound too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering, so loud that your body ducks, your hearing to protect its senses. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. So we are on a ring, space station, ring. And we only have the one event. We have cryptocurrency. And we have no data items. Dragos, pragmatic salvager. It's been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of the scrapyard, swaddled in reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. "So, Sleeper, you all thawed yet?" "Almost." "Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in Sub-Zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky." Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech. His headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye, locking you with an unflinching stare. "Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long." You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. "I plan to survive." You aren't sure if he hears you. "I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, but I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you were just software. A rogue emulation, illegally processing corporate property." You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy.
What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S and Up wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can.
You remember that too, or at least rumours of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have?
But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones.
Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard.
The eye is the best place you could be right now.
The eye?
The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his way. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freighter container. I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it.
Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet.
All right, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest.
And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks. His drone's already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. So this is Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle. Select locations with up and down. Press A. So yes, so there is our empty container, and then there's stuff up there, and stuff down here. But we can't do anything with any of that. But we can see our character. So we can get upgrade points, and we can put those in, and that'll give us a boost to our stats. And as you can see, it gives each one gives a chance to give you something. So it's either -1, 0, +1, or +2. But for now, all we can do is rest. All cycles need to end. Rest and prepare the next one. You wake, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Escape, getting answers, or building a life? Getting answers. It all matters. The past is impossible to escape. If it remains a blur, what S and ARP did to you cannot be forgotten. You need a way of understanding all this before you can move on. Where are you? What is this place? What happened to the others? The questions outnumber the answers. You want to change that, but you'll have to learn to survive first. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container: the mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachet smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can, and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. So, at the top, there we go. Condition, action, dice, and energy. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition, now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. The action dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you've used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the cycle. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. So so we've got 4 dice because of our condition. And those values are stuck. So we have how this game works is you will have actions that you can take that require a dice roll. Depending on the dice roll, depends on how well that action goes, so to speak. Let's carry on, and we'll see if we can get one. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realise it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder. Its cache of sensor eyes, some rapidly irising. "How are you feeling?" "Not good." The drone chirps. Dragos nods. "You notice that beneath the..." He's not speaking yet. "You notice that beneath the operator's rig his skin is marked by burns and blotches." "I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe." He pauses. "So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work?" "Sure." "All right then," he nods. "At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we'll pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up." "Got it." He shuffles his feet nervously. "Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. And sleepers, well," he trails off. "But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help." "Happy to." "Okay," he pauses, thinking of something else to add. "Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do." "Will do." He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. "See you later," he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. So, yes. So, I think it's the only other event. Oh yeah, lower end gate, passage to the lower end. But we need cryo to open that up. So if we come down... Dragos Yard. So we can go to the container. There's nothing down there. But the red thingy says that we can keep doing it. So it's something that's repeatable. And the... Oh, there you go. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, select it with the D-pad and A, and then choose an action dice to assign. So, yeah. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy condition, or time. Items, depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds. Negative, the action fails. Action dice affect these outcomes as follow. So with a 6, there's a 100% chance of a positive outcome. With a 5, there's a 50% chance of positive, 50% chance neutral. With 3 and 4, there's a 50% chance of it being neutral, and a 25% chance of either positive or negative. And 1s and 2s, 50% chance neutral, 50% chance negative. Negative will usually result in some sort of negative effect. Now you can also see on the 2 things showing the repeatable actions, whether it's risky or safe, and it's also got the red box to the right shows you whether your skills have an effect on that. And what that means is if if it's a -1, it will take 1 off of the dice that you assign. So even if you assign a 6, it will only be a 5. Here we go. Actions display information about their type, risk level, and the skill and modifiers that apply to that action. So the type, whether it's a repeatable action or not, either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. 2 is the risk, which is the box underneath the dice hole. Either safe, risky, or danger. So if it's safe, there's no loss of condition, energy, or cryo. A negative outcome means, if it's risky, a negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. And danger, if it's a negative outcome, means condition loss, or neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. 3 is the skill that this action requires, either engineer, interface, intuit, or engage. And then the modifier, which is based on your skill. Either -1, 0, 1, 2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. So, there you go. So, by doing either of the actions, will add to the back-end business. But there's also a cycle clock for a debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. So we oh, there we go. So it's a -1. So right, let's put a 1 in there. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. So it's usually an event happens. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragos' debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once every cycle, each cycle, and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. So we lost 1 energy, but we gained 10 cryo. So let's do manual salvage. We're gonna put the 5 tutorial drives, and in Citizen Sleeper you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any tracked drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu with left bumper. You're now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you to survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Scroll the station with left or left trigger, right trigger, rotate the camera with right stick. Good luck. So yes, so we have 2, basically they are your quests. So we need to survive, so we need to find a doctor, and we need to help pay off Dragos' debt. Now I don't, oh no, there is. So there are various things that we can do. We can carry on working. There is a shipyard, and we can do things here. There's nothing down there. Dock C4, the Rotunda wet dock, the Rotunda, and Dock B2. There's a bright market, which we can use to find the doctor. So we are going to continue with that. Ask for directions, or we can explore the market. Now, I am going to put the 5 in here, asking for directions. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the bright market? All you need is the courage to approach them. Local knowledge +2, but we lost 6 cryo. But it has filled the middle with 1. But as you can see, the critical action has now gone. We cannot do that again. However, we can explore the market, and we're going to put the 2 in. We got a neutral outcome. But we also used the lower dice as well. So local knowledge has now filled up. So if we come out, it has now unlocked Sabine, the slum doctor, and Emphis, the street food vendor. So we're going to go to Sabine. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle forward down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that the doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you are here, you weren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block. They have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look inside. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light flittering through a far doorway, screened with the plastic sheeting beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. "Wait your turn," he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. "Send the next one in, Toshiro." The enforcer checks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and, for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. "Come, sit," calls a sharp voice. You see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do so, an expression of confusion flashes across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. "Please sit." They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. "Remain still, please." Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. "How long have you been on the station?" they ask, the scanner still to their eye. "A few cycles." They nod. "It's good you came to me." They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. "I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything." They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. "Your body is dying." They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. "S&ARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when they're not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which S&ARP remains the sole producer of." They look up. "Sound familiar?" "Yeah. Good. That may help." They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin, and feel your forearm tremble. "I'm sorry," Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. "Emulations like you, sleepers, and most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status." They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and as an ARP is no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but then they stop themselves. "I know a little of this is of use to you." They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. "I may be able to help." They sigh. You see the darkness under their eyes and hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. "You saw Toshiro outside?" You nod. "He works for my benefactor, Yetagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds." They look away. But Yatagan has connections, smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Amber. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Thank you. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Okay. So we have to now wait for them to source the stabilizer. So while that's going on, we've got Emphis. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Despite the queue, Emphis doesn't rush. He dresses each portion individually, squeezing precise slugs of liquid from an assortment of bottles into the bowl of torn leaves and bright slices, before tossing them loosely together. Occasionally, a waiting customer might mutter something about efficiency, but Emphis remains steady in his process. After a while, the queue fades back into the crowd, and Emphis sets down his metal bowl and looks up across the burner to see you watching him. I can feel your eyes burning a hole in my bowl. Free sample? He gestures neatly. Come over. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you. You sleepers, Emphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances out from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about the journey to the Eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his wok. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the Eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner's side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearm, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus, your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. So that's given us some more energy. It's also given us a new drive. Okay. So that's emphasis stall. We can't pay more, but we don't have any more cryo. Now we can sell components, but we don't have any, or we can play the exchange, which is risky. What else? We've only got the one dice. We need to wait for that salvage sortie, so that will come in 4 cycles. We can steal the dock plans. Havenage security has to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place and the most dangerous, which would add to dock watcher. Or we could explore the rotunda, which is risky. What else have we got? Dock C4. We need to wait. Or we could do some more work to try and get some work. I think we're going to play the exchange, which is risky. And hey, nice. So we've got some cryo, which is good, but we have no more dice. So all we can do now is head back to the empty container. Yeah, assist a shipbuilder, which is risky. Haul materials, but we're not good with that. We've also got Dragos's yard. But for now, we are going to end the cycle, which will take 2 energy off and knock 1 off our condition. So I think we'll only have 3 dice on the next cycle, but we are also out of time for this episode. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colourless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange, and then extensions, as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No. You feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you see, feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It's a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory all at once. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it's pulling in 2 directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it's gone. Okay, so yes, so again, we now have 3 dice to play with, and as you can see, some of these markers have gone over. So we've got 2 more for Sabine, but we can't do anything with them. We've got emphasis stall, so we can order some fungus, which is probably a good thing to do because it will give us energy. So we're going to do that. In fact, I need to stop. We could go with the exchange, play the exchange. We don't have any components, but what else we do is going to be in the next episode. Thank you for hanging out and letting me indulge in this game. This game is great. It's very, very chill. The story, from what I remember, was really good. And I do want to play through again before Citizen Sleeper 2 hits Game Pass later on this month, I believe. So yes, thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've played this game before in the comments. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, ticking the bell so you know when new videos go live. I do try and get videos out every single day. Also in the description is a link to the channel Discord. Feel free to come and talk about the games you're playing, the games I'm playing, games in general. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!